"You ungrateful brat!" my mother screamed as my father slapped me across the face, in front of 100 guests, just because I refused to hand them the keys to my 450k condo. I stood frozen. My brother's engagement party had turned into a full-blown public execution, and I was the main target. If this made your blood boil, hit that like, subscribe, and share button right now, because what I did next will leave you speechless. They called me selfish. They called me a disgrace. And when I didn't bow to their pressure, they beat me. Not behind closed doors, but right there, in the middle of a luxury hall, in front of guests, cameras, and my brother's future in-laws. Everyone gasped. Some turned away, but no one helped. I was the ungrateful daughter who dared to say no. No to my parents who gave me life. No to the same people who had left me to rot in a studio apartment while they enjoyed a 3-story mansion I helped them finance. I had worked double shifts at a diner for years, took night classes, started a tech business in my garage, and finally bought a 450k condo, my first real achievement. But in their eyes, it didn't belong to me. "You don't even deserve that place," my father shouted. "We raised you. We gave you everything." Everything. You mean those leftover clothes I had to wear because you spent my college fund on gambling? Or the nights I slept hungry so my little brother could have milk? My brother Noah stood there like a statue. He didn't defend me. Not even a glance of sympathy. His fiancée looked shocked, but said nothing. My mother pointed to my condo papers in her hand, the ones she stole from my purse, and yelled, "You'll sign this over or we'll make your life hell." I didn't reply. I just walked away, but not before looking each of them in the eyes. What they didn't know was, I had already planned everything. And soon, not only would I not give them my condo, but I'd take back everything they ever thought they owned. The eviction notice arrived at their doorstep just 3 days later. My father stormed into my office building. Yes, my building. The one with my name quietly listed under Executive Director on the lobby plaque. He didn't recognize the name at first. Why would he? It was Amariah Holdings, my private real estate company, hidden behind layers of shell corporations. I built it in silence while they mocked my dead-end IT job and told relatives I was just some glorified typist. He barged through the reception screaming, "I want to talk to the owner right now. Whoever this Amariah person is, tell them they're stealing my home." The receptionist, bless her heart, calmly replied, "Sir, you raised her." He turned pale, then red, then pale again. That was just the beginning. You see, while they were busy polishing their fake image in front of the world, pretending to be some perfect upper-class couple, I was buying out the mortgage to their home. Quietly, legally. Every debt, every unpaid tax bill, every ignored letter. I scooped it all up. They didn't read the fine print, but I did. And the house they so proudly boasted about during parties? It belonged to me now, and I wasn't done. I walked into the very living room where they once laughed at me for wearing secondhand shoes. My mother was mid-conversation with her yoga friend when I handed her the envelope. "What's this, a birthday card?" she sneered. "No, it's notice. You have 21 days to leave." She ripped it open, laughed, then froze. "You can't do this," she whispered, eyes wide. "Oh, I can," I smiled. "And I already did. But don't worry. I wasn't cruel. I gave them one option. Either leave peacefully and walk away with some dignity, or fight me in court, where every dirty little secret about their finances, their unpaid debts, and their gambling would come to light. The same secrets their country club friends didn't know about. My brother called that night, furious. "Are you insane? You just ruined everything." I laughed. "No, Noah. You ruined everything the day you stood there and watched them hit me without saying a word. And what he didn't know? I was just getting started. 2 days later, a video from the engagement party went viral. Someone had recorded the entire scene, the screaming, the slap, the stolen papers, everything. It was all over social media with the caption, "Bride's parents attack daughter over a 450k condo. She owns more than they think." Overnight, the internet turned me into an icon of quiet revenge. People from all over the world started messaging me, telling me how their families had used them too. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel like a victim. I felt powerful. But my parents, they felt exposed. They stopped going to their club. Neighbors whispered. Aunties who used to worship them suddenly went silent. My mother begged me to ask the video to be taken down. She even tried to bribe the person who posted it. But it was too late. It had already been downloaded, stitched, and reposted 1,000 times. Now the real twist came when my company was invited to a private real estate summit hosted by one of the biggest developers in the country. And guess who was trying to get a loan approved at that same event? My dad. He was in line outside the VIP section, dressed in an old suit, carrying a thick folder of proposals. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. When he finally made it to the counter, the coordinator said calmly, "You're not on the list for the executive lounge. Only partners of Amariah Holdings get in here." He blinked. "Amariah is here?" That's when the elevator opened, and I walked out in a black power suit, surrounded by 2 advisors and a man from Forbes who was covering my rise in real estate. Our eyes met. He looked broken. "I'm your father," he said quietly, his voice shaking. "And I'm the same. Daughter you slapped in front of strangers," I replied, without even slowing my walk. I wasn't being cold. I was just done begging for love that came with a price tag. My mother tried again. This time, sending my brother to talk to me. He showed up at my condo, the same one they tried to steal. "You're tearing the family apart," he said. "No," I said calmly. "I'm just not holding it together anymore." He had no words, just silence. That's when I handed him a file. "What's this?" "A list of everything they took from me. My college fund, my savings. And guess what? You were in on it too, Noah." His face dropped, because deep down, he knew. "You want to fix things?" I said. "Then earn my respect back. Until then, stay away." But just when I thought the drama was over, something happened that I never saw coming. A week later, I received a letter. Not an email, not a text. A physical letter. Cream-colored envelope, gold-trimmed edges, and my name written in bold cursive, Ms. Amariah Daniels. Inside, there was a formal invitation to my parents' bankruptcy hearing. I stared at it for minutes, my heart pounding. They were filing for Chapter 7. The mansion I now owned was already stripped of value. Their luxury cars, repossessed, their accounts, frozen. The same parents who told everyone I was a failed daughter were now completely broke. But it wasn't the bankruptcy that shook me. It was the name listed under creditor claims, Amariah Holdings, $187,000 in unpaid loans. That's right. I wasn't just the daughter they slapped. I was their biggest creditor. The court would now officially recognize me as the person they owed the most money to. And according to the attached court documents, I had the legal right to seize any remaining assets to settle the debt, including my mother's jewelry, my father's office furniture, and even my brother's graduation bonds. Still, something inside me hesitated. Was I really going to take everything from them? Was that the person I wanted to become? That night, I sat in my condo, the one they tried to steal, and replayed years of memories. Every time I begged them for help, And they laughed. Every birthday forgotten. Every dinner where I was treated like a burden. Every insult disguised as advice. And then, I made a decision. The next morning, I walked into the courthouse, heels clicking on the marble floor, everyone watching as I passed. My parents sat at the table, looking nothing like the people I used to fear. No arrogance, no power, just fear. When the judge asked if I wanted to claim their remaining possessions, I stood up and said, "I only want one thing. The deed to my childhood home. The rest? They can keep it. Let them have something to start over with." Gasps filled the courtroom. My mother burst into tears. My father didn't even look up. But that wasn't a gesture of kindness. That house held secrets. And I needed it for what was coming next. Because in that house, there was something they buried. Something that could ruin everything they still had left. And now, I finally had the key. I returned to the house the same evening, alone. The rooms were cold, empty, stripped of luxury. No chandeliers, no polished floors, just dust, silence, and echoes of a childhood filled with fear. I walked straight to the attic. The wooden stairs creaked beneath my feet, just like they did the night I overheard them talking about the trust fund no one should ever know about. Back then, I thought I was dreaming. But now, I knew exactly what I was looking for. Behind the water tank, hidden beneath a loose wooden plank, was a small metal safe, rusted but intact. The code was still the same birth date my mother used for everything, Noah's birthday. Typical. Inside were documents, property titles, bank transfers, foreign accounts, a handwritten note. In case she ever comes back asking questions, tell her we spent it all on her brother's education. That single sentence burned in my hands. There it was. Proof they had stolen my inheritance. My grandfather had left behind nearly $900,000 in a trust fund. For me. But they diverted it to themselves when I turned 16. That's how they bought the mansion. That's how they paid for Noah's private schooling. That's how they traveled to Europe while I begged for bus fare. I could have called the press. I could have dragged them into court for fraud, theft, emotional abuse. But instead, I made one quiet move. I transferred the funds back into my name, legally, through my corporate lawyers. Then I called my mother. "I know everything," I said. Silence. "You took what wasn't yours, but I'm not like you. I won't destroy. You? I'll just make sure you're never in control again." I didn't wait for a reply. I didn't need one. Weeks later, a small notice appeared in the neighborhood news. Family mansion sold to private buyer. Previous owners relocate. They were gone. And me? I renovated the house. Not to live in it, but to turn it into a shelter for young women cut off by their families. Girls like I once was. Girls who were told they didn't matter. Girls who just needed one chance. And on the front wall, I hung a brass plaque that read, "The Amariah Center, built by the girl they tried to silence." Because sometimes, the best revenge isn't destruction, it's legacy. And mine had just begun. If this story gave you chills, hit the like button, subscribe for more revenge-fueled stories, and share it with someone who needs inspiration. Because silence is power. But success? Success is loud.